everything. So now it's live.
Great. I hope it's
Let
live
me,
because I can see the sign.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I can see it's live on X also. So um, we're good. So let's get started. So today I have here with me Charles. Charles has been a past AILA president, has been running his immigration firm for like more than 20 years, 30 years, I would say. Like this has been incredible journey around immigration, and there is a lot happening around immigration. So we were like, okay, let's get started. Let's get into immigration topics. Let's learn about what's happening.
All
So
right.
first
So
of
let's
all,
go.
welcome to the show.
Let's talk about what's happening. I got to write a text here because we're in the middle of doing something that's really, really important. Um, so you all heard. I don't know if you heard at all that President Trump wants every H-1B visa holder. A little unclear who, by the way, who it
Yes,
is,
yes, yes.
for petitions filed after midnight
On September
to pay
21.
$100,000 fee. Now, interestingly enough,
Uh-huh.
there were lawyers who put in a FedEx envelope on Friday afternoon before
Mhm,
they found out about this, an
mhm,
H-1B petition, and it was received Monday morning. And do you
mhm,
know what happened?
mhm,
They accepted it without a $100,000 fee because immigration has no way to pay a $100,000 fee. There's no way to pay it. One, two, it's illegal. The president can't just make up a fee because he wants to. That's not how
mhm,
this works. That's not how any of this works. The president has to follow the law. Now, there will be litigation on this
mhm,
shortly, and it will, in my opinion, be struck down. There's just no foundation for doing this. But in the meantime, we have a
mhm,
problem, right? We have a problem. Now, there, it's interesting what they said. We gave nobody any notice because we wanted to apply to next year's lottery winners.
mhm.
And you're thinking, wait a second, the lottery's not till March. They're
Correct.
not even going to file in April. Why
Yeah.
are you doing it now? Ah, this is the unspoken thing. You know who applies for new H-1Bs now?
Mhm,
Universities, cap exempt
mm,
employers, which is the
mhm,
bigger number. That's the bigger number. There are more
mm,
cap exempt than there are exempt, than there are actual employers through the 85,000 a year through the lottery. And so they're going after, this consistently going after universities, right? These are the researchers, the scientists, the doctors, school teachers. That's who they're going after, even though
Charles,
they
just
talk
like
about, yeah,
I think you
even though they
kind of
talk
touched
about
a
tech.
little bit on the number. You said the cap exempt or like the universities and all are is a bigger number. Like
It is.
how are
I
how
think it
how
is
is
bigger.
like overall like how can we can someone find out like what is the number like
Well,
distribution
because
like?
you can look at the USCIS statistical page.
Hmm,
USCIS takes great statistics,
mhm,
great statistics.
mhm,
I mean, they don't do a lot of other good stuff. They'll probably hide most of it now, but they've got. You can go back and look historically at their statistics on the Wayback Machine if they take them down. But you can see how many people applied every year, and you go, well, I know that only 85,000 were were lottery people. Well, if they got
mhm,
185,000 applications, 100,000 were cap exempt. So we know they're there, and that's
mhm,
who they're going after. So you've got all these universities freaking out. They don't have. I mean, Harvard has bajillions of dollars, but most schools don't have that kind of endowment. They can't afford to pay a
mhm,
100,000 besides the salary of the person.
mhm,
So that's being hit right now. And again, the fallacy, you hear this fallacy all the time that somehow H-1B workers, these guys are taking jobs from Americans. Well, there's no doubt that that's happened on occasion, right? But the government has these very detailed rules about wages, prevailing wage, actual wage, strike or lockout. You can't use these workers to do that. So there's an enforcement mechanism. And did you know that the government actually keeps there's a web page of companies that are debarred, companies that are not allowed to use the H because they abuse the program. Atal, how many companies do you think are on the government's list? I mean, you heard the president; it's just massive fraud everywhere. So how many? How many? It must be hundreds of companies on the list, right? It's got to be.
100%.
Yeah, there's eight.
So,
There's eight
if I,
companies on the list.
yeah.
Eight. So this idea that and only two of them from the last year, for this year, only two this year.
Mm,
Um, so it's not a program rife with fraud. And the H-1Bs, there's just so many, there's so many studies about H-1Bs.
mhm,
H-1B, every H-1B worker creates 5 jobs.
mhm,
It's generally accepted number. H-1B workers increase the number of patents that are filed with the government.
mhm.
H-1B workers decrease the unemployment rate of U.S. citizens because they create jobs. But you can't tell it to somebody who hates H-1Bs. You can't tell it to a guy who thinks he lost his job because Tata came in and replaced him. Well, that's not Tata's problem. That's your employer. That's Disney's problem. That's whoever did that. That's their problem. They're the ones that made the decision. And it's clear that Tata's got its own issues. I'm not here to defend Tata or any of the job shops out there. But technology, you look at Silicon Valley today. Tesla, Microsoft, and Google or Alphabet are all led by whom? Former H-1B
H1.
workers. For
Mhm,
H-1B workers. And there's many other companies like that. These are just some of the bigger ones. So statistically, H-1Bs have been really good. But you know who's applauding? You know who's super excited about this $100,000 fee, Natal? Germany,
mhm,
France,
mhm,
England,
mhm,
China, heck,
mhm,
India.
mhm.
They're like, this is awesome. You mean
Yeah.
our really smart people will come home and
Mhm,
stay here?
mhm,
Yeah. So I mean, this is like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Stack on top of that today's announcement
mhm,
on the lottery,
mhm.
which is basically we're going to run a lottery what they're going to do is depending on the wage that your employer puts down on the lottery application, you will get one entry, level one, level two entry, you get two entries, level three, level four. And that's also illegal, by the way. It's also illegal. There's no statutory authority to run the lottery based on somebody's salary because one, that means only people in New York and San Francisco will get visas. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's the most expensive places in the country, right? Or Tesla, some random place in Texas.
So,
Uh,
one question on that, like Charles, like I think there were people who were saying that Trump 1.0 admin also did something similar where they
well, they
created a
did.
wage based.
Late in their administration, they created a wage rule. I was one of the lawyers that sued them. The wage rule was defeated. It was defeated because again, you they were requiring higher wages than than the law allowed. The law allowed the prevailing wage or the actual wage. Now, here's the actual ironic part: H-1B workers generally are paid 39% more than the prevailing wage. Generally,
Wow.
the
Hmm.
average wage of an H-1B worker across all the H-1Bs, at least as a couple of years ago, was $107,000. The average wage of the general U.S. worker is $47,000. The average wage of the 90th percentile of U.S. workers is $107,000. So they were basically in the 90th percentile, right? The top 10% of paid workers in the United States.
Hmm.
Again, how are they undercutting wages? It's funny. My son lives in a house in Atlanta, in northern Atlanta, a place called Cumming, and in his neighborhood, almost everybody but him is from India. And these are nice, these are $500,000 houses, nice houses, typical, mid-level homes in Atlanta, because they make good wages, because they're carrying out an essential function in our economy. So you have to ask, and the counter is, well, they should be hiring Americans. In the first 6 months of this year, 90,000 tech workers were hired out of U.S. University, not H-1Bs. 90,000 Americans were hired. We don't have enough tech workers in school. We don't. We don't have enough people graduating. We don't have people trained. We don't have them. And the idea that we can go this alone, or even that we should go this alone, Only people born in America should work in America. That's stupid. One, two, in a global economy. Two, it's never what America has done ever. We are the living exam. We are a living experiment of immigration, right? So what they don't like is the people that are doing this don't look like them. Now, I'm not going to say that's racist. I'm just going to say you can draw your own conclusions from what you hear. So those two big pieces of H-1B news, both of which will be subject to litigation, and I don't think either of which will ever see the light of day. Now, the thing is, the president could just go to Congress.
Mhm,
The president controls Congress. I mean,
mhm,
look, they won't release the Epstein files. Same people begging to release them a year and a half ago are now not released because he told them not to release them. He said,
mhm,
pass this bill that puts $100,000 fee. They would do it. And you know what? We couldn't stop them.
mhm.
There's no litigation that stops that. Congress controls immigration. But you have to ask, why don't they do it? Why don't they make Congress change the lottery? Why don't they make Congress do it? That's the way to do it. But, they're not doing that. So
Got it.
there you
So
go.
I think, yeah, I think as you mentioned, Charles, like both of those are kind of illegals. I think we should maybe like, touch base on the first one, which is 100,000. I heard that you are also working on a litigation around this. So can you
I
share
have
like a,
no comment. I have no
uh,
comment
uh,
on any litigation that is being
okay,
prepared. All I
got
can
it.
tell you is get ready.
Get ready. So how would you, I mean, when you call this as illegal, like how, in what sense you call this as
Well, in
illegal
what
and
sense
how?
is the president does not have any legal authority
Hmm.
to create a new tax? This is a tax.
Hmm.
There's no other definition for this other than a tax. President doesn't have authority to tax. There's a law. There's centuries of case law that say only Congress can create a tax. Okay, it's a tax. Can't do it. That's why it's illegal.
Got it. And I think you touched a little bit that on Monday you heard that okay, some petitions that were sent on Friday got into Monday and they're getting approved right now. Like I
No,
think a
not getting
lot of
approved. They got
uh,
accepted. They
accepted.
took the money that was filed. They didn't reject them, is what I'm saying. They didn't reject them. Now, I've also heard through the grapevine that immigration is just going to hold them until they get rules. See, the thing with the government, the immigration service is controlled by something called the Code of Federal Regulations. USCIS can only act in a way the law allows. Now, the law is both statute done by Congress and regulation. There are no regulations on this. I'm not sure that USAID was even told this was happening until Friday night, Friday afternoon. So there are no regulations. So USAID, they can't take the money because they don't have any regulation that lets them take the money. They don't have a process for it because there's no regulation that gives a process for it. So the other illegality is the agencies are not following the Administrative Procedures Act. Another reason to strike this down. So there's it's trust me, there are a lot of issues here that these guys thought they were handling, and
Yeah.
they had no handle on it whatsoever. They are not hiring the best. They're just not.
Yeah. So I think just like as you mentioned on Monday, these petitions still got accepted. Now some of these might be actually the premium processing ones because H1B can be, premium processing one. So I guess like I think a lot of our audience here is trying to understand like whether I can change employers, I can do extensions, I can do renewals and all. Like how
We
and
don't
when do you
know. We
mm,
don't know the answers to any of those questions.
mm,
Is a fee due on a change of employer? Is a fee due on a? No, we don't know. I mean, the proclamation is so vague. It says petitions filed after September 21st. What kind of petitions? New petitions. You mean new employer petitions? First time H-1B petitions? Again, really terrible drafting by the administration of this proclamation. Because there was terrible drafting of the proclamation, nobody knows what's going on, including most immigration lawyers. They don't know. So, should I travel? No, you shouldn't travel. You shouldn't. Now, there are people that came back, by the way, with no problem. Folks have gotten visas in the last 2 days. They got on the consulate, got visas on their own approval notices. There's at least one guy that I was told about that was not given his visa. They're holding it to get more guidance. People of CBP said, you can come in, you got a visa, you're golden, you don't need that money yet. So again, and when the three agencies issued their FAQs, they were all different. They're all different. So it's there's a lot of unanswered questions with that, and obviously the lottery thing is what's called a proposed rule,
Mhm.
but it's on a fast track. So in 30 days you can comment on it, and then in 30 days it will become the law, and then you can sue. And that's of course look in October, look for lawsuits on that. So
Um, Got it. Just to touch a little bit, like how things are gonna look like from here. Like, when do you think we can expect some guidance coming in? Because I mean, if there is a timeline of responding back within 15 days, if USCIS doesn't
well,
like,
ICE doesn't have to do that. I mean, USCIS doesn't have to do that. They
okay.
they might take your money, they can give it back to you. Say we're not doing it in 15 days. So the fact that you paid premium processing is irrelevant. ICE can just return the money and say we're not going to do it.
It's
That's
USCI.
that's completely their discretion.
Okay. So it is a possibility that we might not know the answers even in 15 days.
We probably won't know the answers for a couple of weeks.
Mm, got it. So, I mean, that's kind of a very challenging situation for a lot of people on H-1B who are in the middle of changing their jobs and like, maybe they were interviewing and now,
I know. I know. That's why you got to sue.
got it. Yeah, this is definitely very complex for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, very very complex. And right now I've just said the best advice to everybody: just sit tight. Just sit tight. Let the lawyers got this.
Got it.
There's really, really excellent lawyers working on this. There are some. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Mm,
Keep the faith, my friend. Keep the faith.
got it. And I mean,
Now,
I
there
think,
was another piece
mhm,
of H-1B news, by the way, besides the two we've talked about,
mhm,
and that's from the Department of Labor. Department of Labor came out today. I think it was
mhm,
today. Maybe it was yesterday night, but today, I think it was today, and said, "Hey, we're going to make sure that H-1Bs aren't used to replace U.S. workers."
mhm,
Okay, that's been your job for the last 35 years. Did something change?
mhm,
I mean, so they're going to, Department of Labor is wage and hour. So basically, if you're an H-1B worker and your employer screws you over, you make a complaint to wage and hour. They will represent you and get your money back. They will help you.
mhm,
ICE might deport you, but the Department of Labor will help you.
mhm,
So they should be doing their job. I agree. If there are H-1B employers out there breaking the law, they should be arrested. They should be
mhm,
fined. They should be debarred. Do that. There's no legitimate person and no lawyer's ever going to say, no, you can't prosecute my client who committed fraud. Do it. Right. But
mhm,
what folks like to do is lump the good guys and paint them with the bad guys. And the bad guys are very few. There's very few bad guys in this system. Most of these legitimate good guys. So there you go. So you got those three things all going on at the same time. And I'm sure Friday's coming up in a day and a half. Friday afternoon will be another crazy thing from the White House on immigration. Watch for it.
got it. I mean, I think you touched a little bit on like how it might impact the universities. What are your thoughts on like how it's going to impact the startups and small businesses,
Oh, it's
and
going to be
how many
terrible.
of them actually on H1 rely on H1B?
Oh, tons of them rely on H-1Bs because many of them are started by H-1Bs. You can do your own H-1B. I mean, you can start your own company and run your own H-1B. There's a great quote from a venture capitalist. I'm trying to find the guy's name earlier yesterday. I have never invested in a company in the last 10 years that could have afforded to pay the $100,000. This is. I mean, you get money from you get a couple $1 million from a venture capitalist fund. You're going to spend a tenth of that on a visa? I don't think so. I mean, it's nuts. When why would you tell a startup? No, they're only going to hire the people they know they need, the guys with the key, right? They got the it factor. I need this guy. Why would you tell them? Oh, you got to pay us extra money to do that. We don't want you to be successful. I mean, that's it's kind of insane when you think about it, uh, about the reality of this, what they're really doing, and what they do is they boggle your mind. They kind of confuse you with this bad guy and that bad guy and it's terrible and this tech worker and in Florida lost a job. Yeah, but there's so much good. What you mentioned startups. Did you know that 25% of the doctors in America are foreign nationals,
Hmm.
and every one of them goes through the H-1B program? Rural
Wow.
doctors, guys, there's no other doctor. A lot of them
Hmm.
are on H-1Bs in these rural areas. Those clinics where they work, they don't have $100,000. Heck, they're shutting down. So teachers, there's school teachers that come on H-1Bs in mostly rural areas where they can't get teachers to come in and teach. And they're making like $60,000 a year, $50,000, what a teacher makes. Where are they going to, we just want to be teachers. I mean, it really makes no sense from a policy perspective, and it makes no sense economically either.
Hmm. Got it. From your perspective, like what are the downstream impacts you see immediately on the innovation in the US?
Well,
Like,
people will just innovate somewhere else. I mean, this
mm,
is this is an attack on innovation. This is an anti-innovation proclamation because it does nothing to make Americans more competitive. There's nothing in this proclamation says as a result of kicking out and keeping out all the high tech guys from abroad, America will go it on their own. weren't
mm,
weren't we going to do that anyway? So this is like the add-on. This is the cherry on top. No, we don't need a cherry. We don't need the whipped cream. Heck, we don't even need the ice cream. We just got the glass.
mm,
So there, and again, our competitors, our global competitors, Germany's already doing it today. Germany, the foreign minister of Germany is in India today, telling folks, in our country, the immigration laws are stable. It's a good, you got a great salary, great benefits, and you don't have to deal with the crazy president. You're graduating from the best university in India. Well, I really like my Mercedes. I can get a Mercedes and live in. Okay, I'll go to Germany. Our
mm,
competitors are already using this against us.
definitely. Um, I mean, I think want to get your perspective a little bit on like, no one was expecting this is like such a like everyone was caught off guard on a Friday, especially around H1B. What are you seeing? Like this is like kind of like a first point, like, no one was expecting it. Like, what are the other things you see might come in the future from this administration like this?
Oh, who knows? I mean, we already know what they're doing behind the scenes within the immigration service. There's a great Reddit post from a soon-to-be former USCIS supervisor who spills all the beans, by the way,
Mm,
on what's really going on. Why is my case taking so long, or why my case is so fast? You should check it out on Reddit. It's really interesting. I don't know what you're going to see. You could see the government come out and say, we're going to slow down the processing of EB1. So I mean, the gold card, right? Trump announced the gold card, which is also just a tiny piece of insanity. Again, the president can't create a visa, so it looks like what he's going to do is say if you give a gift of $1 million or 2 million if you have family to the U.S. government, a gift, we will, I don't know, give you an EB1. That's evidence of extraordinary ability. Really? That doesn't. I mean, there's going to be suits on that in a heartbeat. You
yeah,
can't do
that's like
that. I mean,
you,
there's
you
no
if you give money, you become
statutory basis to
extraordinary.
find, that you have $1 million. Plus, again,
Uh,
that's a tax. The president can't create a tax. It's a tax. Oddly enough, the word gift is actually defined in federal law, and that is not. You can't tie a gift to a benefit you receive. You know what that's called? That's called extortion, bribery. That's what that is. It's bribery. So no,
yeah.
the gold card. Who knows what crazy thing they're going to come out with? I can tell you what they're not going to come out with: stapling a green card to every graduate degree from the United States. Something Trump has talked about in the past.
Yeah.
As long as Stephen Miller controls the government, you're not going to see any any positive immigration, anything. Everything will be bad. If you want to get a view of the future, look at Project 2025's immigration section. All of that horror is going to happen, just like I said it would, but nobody believed me because Kamala. There you go. Get what you pay for.
Got it. So like I guess like a lot of immigrants right now who are like kind of like just hanging there, they're like having a very hard time and feeling very discouraged. What would be your advice for them, like how they should be navigating this?
That's a great question. I'm almost tempted to say, you should check out Canada, check out Europe. I mean, if this president, if this America doesn't want you, why should you stay? I mean, that's my first reaction. If you say, well, I want to stay, I like it here, my family's here, my kids are born here, this is a country I've always wanted to come to, okay, then do everything you can to stay. Follow the rules. And if magically there's a gold card, save your money and buy a gold card. It's, I will tell you this, don't get caught up in the hysteria. Um, that's their plan, by the way, is to get you all hysterical. Don't get caught up in the hysteria. Just relax, take a breath. You don't have to go on Twitter every second of the day, and decide that you're gonna weather the storm. He's only president, whether he believes it or not, for 3 years and 5 more months. I know it seems like 4 years already, but
That's a no, that
he's
sounds
not
like
going
a
to be.
lot.
He's not a king. Not a king. We will have another election, and he will be gone. And then we'll have to clean up this mess. And we need you here to clean up this mess. Please stay and help us clean up the mess in 3.5 years.
Got it. So I think this is like a great advice for immigrants. Like, what would be your advice for actually employers who are like, first of all, trying to like have hire the best talent, and there are startups and all, and what should be they be expecting as possible changes from here?
Well, obviously, if you're a startup and you want to hire from abroad, you've got a major hill to climb at this point. Uh, so I think you need to plan accordingly, whether it's outsourcing your work for employers, particularly those that employ foreign nationals. I would make you're going to get a visit from our friends at USCIS at the FDNS. FDNS is the Fraud Detection National Security Unit of the USCIS, and they're going to be calling you or emailing you or just showing up at your front desk and asking to speak to your H-1B worker. They're going to ask you a series of questions. You better be familiar with each H-1B petition, or the better advice is to say, all my lawyer will handle all these inquiries. Here's his number. Call him. Call her. That's what you should do. You don't have any legal obligation to do anything other than I have a lawyer. You talk to my lawyer. It's just like you cop show up. You say, talk to my lawyer. They don't have a warrant or anything. You can't, and you never let them in your property ever. If they insist and your employee wants to talk to them, you bring them out to the lobby, but do not ever let them inside your premises. They have no legal right to do that. But you be prepared for the FDNS audit. They'll probably audit 75 to 100,000 people this year, at least 15 to 20% of H-1Bs. So I would suggest, and now they're auditing L's and E's. So you want to be prepared for that. You make sure you've got an HR policy and that. Talk to your immigration lawyer. For the startups and stuff, make sure you're getting really good legal advice. It's important and essential that you are planning appropriately, that you are doing exactly what you need to be doing, so that you are, not violating any rules. These rules are so easy to break. They are so easy to screw up, and you don't want to do that. You don't really want to do that. You want to make sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed.
Got it. I think you're touching a little bit on the I-9 compliance and also how do employers, so I guess like one advice you're giving is like to be completely compliant and
Oh yeah, I mean, I will tell you on I-9s, if you can, regardless how small you are, get a software program that does your I-9s.
Mm,
Most payroll companies, like, I don't know, Bamboo, like I have, they'll have I-9s programs. Do the electronic ones. Why? Because you can't screw them up. They're impossible
mm,
to screw up. Easy to screw up a paper one. Trust me. There's 47 different ways to screw up an I-9. You can't screw it up this, and keep it for every employee. Remember, the basic rule is this. It's the 1 and 3 day rule, 1 day rule. You must have the employee fill out section 1 on the first day of their employment.
Mhm.
not when the job offer is made, although you can do it then, but by the first day of employment. The other rule is you have to fill out section two by the third day of employment. Section two is the documents. You have personally reviewed the documents that this person is authorized to work. And the software program will help you fill that information out correctly. That's my best advice. And if you're sitting there going, "What's an I-9?" Oh my God, call me because you have problems already.
Definitely. I think we covered pretty much like a lot of topics. The last one is like here, I guess like if there is this 100K thing where let's say lawsuits and all go through, where do you see like it might like, I guess it's probably gonna be like, struck down, but like where do you see if like do you have any doubt there in the process on how courts are gonna struck it down, like like the
I
district
don't have any
versus.
doubt about it. I am 100% convinced they're going to strike it down.
God. And I guess you are sharing this from your experience with the past Trump 1.0 admin also, where you when you did that.
I'm sharing it from the experience of all these gray hairs on my head. Yeah, I've
Mhm,
done this a very long time. We've done a lot of different lawsuits. We know the
mhm,
law. I just can't understand why they thought they could do it. That's what I don't get. And I'm coming to the conclusion rapidly. They don't think they can do it either. But they
mhm,
figured, what do we have to lose? To them, it's a political stunt, even though it hurts thousands of people. It can only be a political stunt because
mhm,
they have to know that you
mhm,
can't legally do this.
mhm. Got it. Awesome. So, I mean, I kept this for 30 minutes to keep it like very focused. I am seeing like a lot of people are actually now have joined, like, around 200 to 30 people have joined
Oh, well,
listening to us
welcome
live.
everybody. It's good to see you tonight.
Yeah. So is there any other, I think all these people are like feeling a little anxious and be like
Well, are they
discouraged.
asking
Like,
any questions? I mean, I'd love to have some questions from them. That'd be kind of fun.
um, I think questions, I'm not seeing on specifically on X here, in the
This is
chat,
why
but I
I
guess.
use StreamYard, my friend, because you can see the
Sure.
questions on there. Um, but the reality is there's going to be a lot of change,
Mhm,
and the key is not to panic. Not to panic. Get good legal counsel, and there's lots of good lawyers out there. And remember, if you work for a company that has their own lawyers, you can get your own lawyer too to advise you. You know, they might not file the application, but you say, "I got a quick question." Okay, pay for a consult and go talk to them. We do it all the time for employees. They don't understand. If you didn't grow up in this system, I mean, first of all, Americans have no idea how this works. None. Americans have no clue whatsoever. HB1s, they all say it wrong. They forget the hyphen. Look, they don't know, and they expect you to know. So unless you study this out in your free time, which you probably have very little of, talk to a lawyer, and he can guide you and direct you in how what you should be doing. I will tell you, I would not travel until we resolve this issue. I think I'd probably be fine if if my dad's dying, okay, you got to go. That's fine. But we want to make sure that you're going to be okay.
got it. And what is your advice about people who are looking to change jobs?
My advice is you hold off a couple weeks.
Mhm. Hold.
There's going to be litigation, all right,
Mhm,
and there's going to be shortly. There's going to be litigation
mhm,
that will resolve this issue. We
mhm,
just, immigration may take your case and adjudicate it. It's without money. It's just
mhm,
that we don't know what the proclamation means by new petitions filed after September 21st, midnight, 2025. Does it mean like new employers or change of employees, a new petition, right? Or is it just, or did they really mean first time H-1Bs, which is what they probably meant, but which is unclear.
mhm. Got it. Amazing. I think to our audience, we just wanted to share all the updates. We will do more of these down the road to keep you posted as things change around H1B. Keep sharing your questions. Whatever questions you have, happy to answer here. And thank you, Charles, for making time for this for our
Always
audience.
my pleasure. Have a great evening.
Yes, thank you.